Today's topic of conversation is my preview for the 2018 Austrian Grand Prix. My second video of the day. I've not done one for 2 weeks, and today we bring out two. Welcome everyone back to the race preview. I think the last time we did a preview for a weekend was maybe Baku. I think Baku could have been the last time I did a preview for a Grand Prix weekend. It's been exam season, busy season, but we're back, and it's the second week in a row we have a Formula 1 Grand Prix, the second race in the triple header, the first time in the sport's history we will have 3 Grand Prix in a row. Very excited. Last year, this race was won by Valtteri Bottas. Pretty much a domination from the Finn, actually. Qualified on pole, controlled most of the race. Sebastian Vettel was right behind him, but still Bottas, this was one of his real statement drives last season. Can he do the same this season? Well, if you're new to these previews, we go through FP1, we go through FP2, and I just chuck in my predictions for the weekend. So, why not start with FP1 then? It was the two Mercedes on top, both bringing upgrades to this weekend. They bought their big engine upgrade last week in France. They've bought more of a chassis upgrade this weekend with upgrades to the sideboards most notably. And they were both on top of Lewis Hamilton with a 1 minute 4.8. Question marks on whether the pole lap time will finally reach under the 1 minute mark. So that'll be interesting to see. But looking at these times in first practice, I highly doubt it, to be honest with you. But Hamilton was on top, followed by Valtteri Bottas, who was just 1/10 behind, both completing 39 laps. Then came Max Verstappen in P3, Sebastian Vettel P4, Daniel Ricciardo P5, and rounding out those top teams was Kimi Raikkonen and P6. Best of the rest, Romain Grosjean, someone who is in the thumbnail of this video because I think this is his weekend. He needs to prove that he deserves a seat in that Haas car, and I think Grosjean will get his points finally this race, but I think more importantly, he needs to beat Kevin Magnussen. That's what I think. I'd love to know what you think about Romain Grosjean, but I think it's crucial that he can get some good points this weekend, but I think it's more important that he can beat Kevin Magnussen on the Saturday and Sunday and just have no issues whatsoever. So Grosjean, fingers crossed, he can do well. Then came Esteban Ocon, Charles Leclerc in the top 10 again in P9, and Pierre Gasly down in P10. Something of note from FP1 and FP2 was that the curbs this year, once again, really high, causing a lot of damage. Stoffel Van Dorn got caught out, the two Toro Rossos got caught out, getting front wing damage, floor damage, so that'll be something interesting to watch out for on the race. And last year, I believe it was definitely it was last year, I'm pretty sure, Danny Kvyat in qualifying went over those curbs, destroyed his suspension into the wall during qualifying. So that'll be something really interesting to look out for. Also in FP1 was the return of Robert Kubica. He finished last, and supposedly Williams are working on some strategy and sort of setup work with Robert. But I think it was the right decision to not have him in the car, to be honest with you. Yes, Stroll and Sorokin haven't really been anywhere, but imagine if Kubica was in that car, and I was thinking about this yesterday actually. Imagine if Kubica was in that car and outperforming Lance Stroll, who really is their sort of, I don't want to call him a golden boy, but he's their man they want to sort of keep on for as long as possible. Not because of his talent, but because of the links he has with the team. He's almost the face of the Williams board, but in the car, if you know what I mean, rather than being a driver of his own. Sorokin, I think this year has been a lot more mature than Stroll, and to be honest with you, looking at it at face value, it looks like Sorokin's not the rookie, and it's Stroll that's the rookie at some stages. But Stroll, in all fairness, has drove a good season so far. His press work and team radio still needs a bit of work. Definitely acts like a spoiled teenager sometimes. But he has been pretty solid this year, has Lance Stroll. Much better than last year, for sure. Been the king in the first lap, Lance Stroll, this year as well. So I don't expect too much from the Williams this weekend. A really poor showing from them last year at this circuit. So I imagine this year it'll be even worse, to be honest with you. So sorry, Williams fans. I don't think this weekend will be the fix or points that you could be looking for. Moving on to practice 2 then. Once again, Lewis Hamilton on top by 1/10 over Valtteri Bottas. This time in P3 was Sebastian Vettel. Then came the two Red Bulls headed by Daniel Ricciardo. Kimi Raikkonen again in 6th place. He's another driver that needs to have a solid weekend. Not a track that he's particularly fond of, particularly quick at, or has been in the past. So question marks again over Kimi Raikkonen's future will definitely be coming up this weekend after reports that he could be linked with McLaren for next season. I'm not too sure about that. I'd love to know what you think about that. That's a topic that we will be bringing up in the brand new Formula 1 podcast I've got coming out on Thursday, so hopefully you guys look forward to that. The Formula 1 show, the first ever episode. We're going to be talking about driver transfers for next season, so Kimi Räikkönen to Ferrari will definitely be one to talk about. P7, Romain Grosjean. Like I said a minute ago, he needs to be there this weekend. He needs to be there pretty much for the entire race. Haas had a really good race here last year. Grosjean scoring some solid points. This year, he needs to score solid points. P8, Kevin Magnussen. So Haas definitely looking like the fourth best team this weekend. P9, Pierre Gasly. P10, and rounding out the top 10 was Stoffel Van Dorn, miles ahead of Fernando Alonso in this session and ahead of Fernando Alonso in the previous session. So Van Dorn, in this sort of third through the season, really starting to pick up that bit of form and finally looking like he could start to outperform Fernando Alonso. To be honest with you, practice times, got to be that disclaimer. You can't really judge practice times too closely because teams are always sandbagging, always on different fuel loads, different tyre temps, different tyre compounds. So you never really know. So to be honest with you, McLaren getting into the top 10, I don't imagine. But it could happen. You never know. You never know what's going on. Chances of rain. It was raining in the first practice. Looks like we could see rain on Saturday. Sunday, unlikely. So it still looks unlikely that we'll get our first wet race of the season. So before we go then, I just want to quickly give you my predictions for the race result and the qualifying result for the 2018 Austrian Grand Prix. Comment yours below in the description. But let's talk about the front row. I think it's got to be a Mercedes lockout. I think it's got to be. I think the real question mark is it Hamilton? Is it Bottas? I'm going to go with the Hamilton qualifying on P1, Valtteri Bottas, P2. Usually, if you're not new around here, I usually go for a little bit out there, a little bit out of the box, and I nearly went with the Valtteri P1, but I think I'm just going to play it safe this weekend. Let's just go with the Hamilton P1, Valtteri P2, and a P3 I'm going to give to Sebastian Vettel. I think we've got to be play it safe this weekend. But the race result, I love to mix up a race result. I'm going to go with a Valtteri win. I think Valtteri can do this. I think this can be his first win of the season. I think really he's been one of the best drivers this season. So unlucky. And I think this could be his first win of the 2018 season. P2, I'm going to go Lewis Hamilton. That's just with my gut. I think he's going to extend his lead a little bit more. And P3, I'm going to go with Daniel Ricciardo. That's what I'm going to go with. That's my top three. I'm happy with that. And again, a little bit outside the box. Not sticking it with the usual top three, but let's see how it all pans out. Guys, thank you very much for watching the preview. As always, links for my Patreon, Twitter, and other things to do with this channel on the description down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.